Well, good morning, everyone. That was my second try there. Okay, hope you're having a great start to your day. You can see the sun behind me there shining through. So, hi to everyone this morning, and we appreciate you coming on. Mike, how are you from Norland? Number one on the hit parade this morning. Andrea, Niagara Falls. Brahim, my buddy from Portland, Oregon. We appreciate you guys. Jerry, Nouveau Brunswick. And Sandra from Aurelia, good morning. And Rosalinda from the Kidneys of Canada. And Kevin from Oshawa. Jeanette, good morning. And Marla from Ottawa. Sherry. And Francis from Vaughan this morning. Marie, good morning. Rita, how are you? Nicole from Sudbury. And Sharon from Digby. Wendy from Markham, good morning. Keith from Bell River. Patricia, Windsor, Ontario. And Wanda from Virginia. Sharon, good morning. And Les, Brahim, you're back up there. Suzanne. And Suzanne, then Susan from Nova Scotia. Sue, 3 in a row. Brockville. And what is that? Donna. Hi, Donna. Gloria from New York. Sherry from Windsor. Janice, good morning. Bonnie, good morning. And Fran from Orangeville. Maureen, how is you? Boca Raton, Florida. Georgie, Halifax. Tammy, Sturgeon Falls. And what does that say? I missed it. Karen, Little Britain. Nativity. Close the blind, she said. You can't see my face. Okay, I'll do that. Hold on, guys. Let me just do this. Okay. I better close these blinds, eh? How's that? Better? There we go. Okay, you couldn't see my face. Okay, Kathy from the Philippines. Guys. Oh boy, me and technology, huh? And we appreciate it. Okay, guys, let's get going this morning. I know I missed so many of you. I missed you, Cheryl. I didn't mean to. Anne from Kingston. I never mean to miss people. Chris and everybody's happy I closed those blinds. Yeah. You know, one thing you learn in videos and that, don't put anything behind you that's bright. That's not a good idea. If anything, the light's got to come from the front of the camera. Okay, let me go into a study that came up. I flagged it yesterday, and very interesting. It'll not surprise you and I, okay? It will not surprise you and I, because we know these things because we've been talking about them so long. We talk about that bacteria, we talk about the microbiome, and that's been a big topic at the Martin Clinic. We've been talking the microbiome for many years, and we've talked about leaky gut. And but you know, as they study the microbiome, they realize more and more how important it is. Okay, and then the connection between leaky gut and leaky brain, and this came out of I read it in neuroscience.com, but it's really an article in the Frontiers in Cellular and Infection Microbiome. Okay, I didn't even know such a place existed. And what they're saying is incredible, okay? So what they're saying is this. Let me give you some takeaways of this research. When they look at Alzheimer's, in Alzheimer's patients, and they look at their microbiome What they did here is they looked at the microbiome in Alzheimer's patients, and they saw this. Okay, let me give you some takeaways. They found a profoundly, that's the word they use, a profoundly different microbiome profile in Alzheimer's compared to people that didn't have Alzheimer's. So they have a complete different microbiome profile. Okay? Got that? That's number one. They found that it had the same microbiome profile in Alzheimer's as in ALS. You know, Lou Gehrig's disease, ALS, which is much more common today. When they looked at patients with in ALS and Alzheimer's, they had very, very similar microbiome profile. Okay, so that's two. This is the second takeaway. And this is the third takeaway. Current research is challenging the long-held amyloid cascade hypothesis. Okay, so what does that mean? Guys, you know about, and for those who are new here, you know about the summer of 2022, where mental health was turned upside down. 3 ways. One, in Alzheimer's, they said the amyloid plaque hypothesis wasn't right. After all these years, they finally admitted that the amyloid plaque hypothesis, which all of medicine believed was the cause of Alzheimer's, all big pharma's drugs were aimed at trying to change the amyloid plaque in the brain in Alzheimer's patients. And what would I say? All of the studies that they looked at for the last 20, 25 years in the summer of 22, they came to this conclusion, and I brought it to you in several podcasts. You know what they said? The amyloid plaque hypothesis, okay? Current research is challenging the long-held amyloid cascade hypothesis. So they're saying this in this study too, that, you know what? We got it wrong. It's not right. It's not what causes Alzheimer's. There may be amyloid plaque, but it's not the cause. It's not what comes first. And these people at the Frontiers in Cellular and Infection Microbiome Committee, it's, oh, by the way, at Drexel University is where they actually did this particular study. They're saying, well, the amyloid plaque, if there is, it's not what causes Alzheimer's. They're more interested in the microbiome. Okay? Interesting, isn't it? Leaky gut, leaky brain, because that's really what they're saying. And then, okay, the fourth takeaway out of this, and they said this: we are now focusing in on the new pathogen hypothesis, focusing in on bacterial, viral, and fungal factors in Alzheimer's. Okay? And guys, this is earth-shattering. It's more than earth-shattering. Because what they're saying is leaky gut, leaky brain. And the microbiome changes in your gut. It doesn't change in your brain first, it changes in your gut. It goes back to what we talk about all the time: leaky gut, leaky brain. Okay? Now, and so They're looking at the microbiome. They realize the microbiome in Alzheimer's and ALS are almost identical, and they've been invaded. There's an invasion that takes place, okay? And it's interesting in this article, and here's what they say. Listen, I mean, if you wonder about the human body, guys, it's absolutely incredible. Listen to this. 100 trillion tiny microbiome in your body. They think there's 100 trillion. I don't know how they counted to that. 100 trillion. I looked this up, okay? I'm gonna tease you a little bit this morning, okay? I'm gonna tease you a little bit. If we were to count to 1 trillion, okay? They say there's 100 trillion. Okay, I can't get over that in the body. But if we're to count to 1 trillion, okay? Bring a lunch, folks. Okay? Because I looked this up. So let's start. 1, 2, 3. You know how long it would take to get to 1 trillion? How long would it take us to count to 1 trillion? Okay? 1, not 100 trillion. 1 trillion. Okay? You know what it is? You know what it is? It would take us almost 33,000 years. What? I'm not kidding you. No, you see, you guys, 50, 60 years. No, a few coffees. I love your answer. Very long is the right answer, Patricia. Too long, Cheryl. It would take us 32 to 33,000 years to count to 1 trillion. You know, when we spend $1 trillion, the government, you know, when we're in debt in Canada and the United States, big debt, and we talk in, you know, when I was a kid, we used to talk in millions. A millionaire. I mean, that was incredible. Who could be a millionaire? Right? And then we get to billionaires. And now there's trillions. Folks, I just can't get over it. Like that, and then the more they study it, the more the frontiers in cellular and infection microbiome, there's actually people, and I love it, that are looking at bacteria. You know how many years I've been talking about the microbiome? You know, where Hippocrates says that all diseases start in the gut. Think about that. And the connection between that microbiome in your gut, when it changes in your gut, and they're even admitting it, you get changes in the brain microbiome, and it is a big factor. Now, you and I have talked about this before, that they called Alzheimer's in 2005, they called it type 3 diabetes. Okay? So we know that insulin plays a big part in Alzheimer's. We know that. And today, 93% of the population have metabolic syndrome. They got trouble with insulin. They got trouble with food. Okay, we've established that. And then secondly, there's involvement in the gut. You know, at the Martin Clinic, we have the 3 seeds of disease. Okay? The 3 seeds of disease. We talk about this all the time. Okay? The 3 seeds of disease. High circulating insulin or insulin resistance. My friend, that's a food problem. Stress too. Stress can affects insulin. You can get insulin resistance with stress. But you combine these, okay? So what do we talk about all the time? 1, high circulating insulin. Two, what do we talk about? Leaky gut. Leaky gut is a seed of disease. And thirdly, oxidation, oxidative damage, free radical damage. We're rusting out. We're aging. It's just part of the parcel of our lives. Oxidation. Everybody goes through it, but what happens in cancer, if those free radicals take off, they're like teenagers, and they got a motor, and they don't stop, and you get cancer is a cascade of it needs fuel, sugar, it needs oxygenation. It's unreal. And listen, the three seeds of disease, and they're talking here about Alzheimer's and dementia, and they're saying, you know what? What we're seeing is when we study the microbiome, the brain microbiome of Alzheimer's patients and ALS patients, they're messed up. They're messed up. And guys, I gotta say it again. I always repeat. Okay. So what are they saying? Let me tell you what they're saying. Okay? When you get leaky gut, first of all, how do you get leaky gut? How does that happen? How do you get a gut that leaks into the bloodstream? Okay? So remember, your blood-gut barrier is well protected. Okay? You have a border there between your gut and your blood, okay, that's tightly knit. This isn't microscopic, it's submicroscopic. Okay? But it's reality nonetheless. Leaky gut, by the way, just because a lot of people get this idea that when you have leaky gut, you have digestive problems. Well, yes and no. You could have digestive problems, and at the end of the day, you've got problems, but a lot of people don't get symptoms. Oh, Dr. Martin, I don't have any digestive issues. And yet you're telling me I have leaky gut. Yeah, because leaky gut, okay, what happens in the gut doesn't stay in the gut. Because if you get, okay, give you an example. You take an antibiotic. You have an infection. What choice did you have? You were given an antibiotic. Or sometimes you take an antibiotic because the dentist wants you to take an antibiotic before you come to see them. I can't stand that. That drives me mental. I'm telling you, I want to grab dentists by the throat and tell them, would you just give people a probiotic instead of an antibiotic? Okay? But anyway, we all know this. Antibiotics are wonderful. They save your life. Medicine's greatest discovery, in my opinion. Okay? Wonderful. Problem is, it's a double-edged sword. I talked to a guy yesterday at this conference, and he had been on antibiotics for 10 years. 10 years because of acne. And he finally went to, he told me this, he finally went to another dermatologist. The dermatologist put him on antibiotics for 10 years. And then he finally went to another one. And the other dermatologist was just about passed out. You've been on this for 10 years? Are you kidding me? And you know what that dermatologist did? Put him on probiotics. Then I almost passed out. I said, you mean dermatologists know about probiotics? Well, he said this one did. But listen, you take an antibiotic, 5 days, you wipe out, you know, the trillions. You've got two armies in your gut. You got the good guys and you got the bad guys. Okay? Two armies in your gut. You got good guys and bad guys. It's the way it is. And people that spend their lives disinfecting everything, never mind just antibiotics, disinfecting everything, washing their hands 100 times a day, especially with those chemicals, that gives me a migraine. That disrupts your microbiome. It kills your good guys. These antibacterial things. I don't touch them with a 100-foot pole. I remember during the virus there, I faked it, okay? Because you go into the grocery stores, whatever. Remember when they were guarding? And I faked it. I don't use that stuff. I got oil of oregano. That's what I like. I like that as a natural antibiotic. But listen, okay, so what happens? You take an antibiotic. You get all these chemicals. And what you do is you wipe out your good guys. So what happens? You guys know this. I've been talking to you about this for a long time. You got good guys, bad guys, and then your good guys are wiped out. In the presence of, or a lack of presence of good guys, you know what happens? You get the Trojan horse coming in. You have an invasion from the Third Army. So what happens? Fungus, yeast, candida, it comes up and it goes into the bloodstream, and then it can land up in the brain. How many years have I been talking to you about this? It can land up in the brain, and now researchers who study these things, they're saying, here's what they're saying. We're focusing in on bacterial, viral, and fungal factors in Alzheimer's. Guys, I shake my head because it's fantastic. I'm just glad that, you know, when I used to talk about leaky gut, okay, like go back 20 years or 25 years or 30 years, I wrote books about leaky gut even in chronic fatigue. And they thought, oh, Dr. Martin, what a quack he is. I remember doctors in around Sudbury going, don't go see that nutcase. He's crazy. There's no such thing as leaky gut. There's no such thing as fungus getting into the bloodstream. If you had fungus get into your bloodstream, it would kill you. You'd be dead now. So there's no such thing as fungus in the bloodstream. Hello? And fungus can get across the blood-brain barrier because your blood-brain barrier is similar. It's actually, I think, is identical to your blood-gut barrier. You see, you have a barrier that doesn't allow any toxins to get into your bloodstream. Your body is fearfully and wonderfully made. The takeaway is profoundly different microbiome profile, same as ALS. Current research is challenging the long-held amyloid cascade hypothesis. I love it. And focusing in on the new pathogen hypothesis. Bacterial, fungal, viral. How does it happen? Leaky gut, leaky brain. And guys, one thing about yeast, let me just remind you, I know you know this, but let me remind you again, don't feed the bears. Don't feed the bears, because yeast lives on sugar. It lives on it. Don't feed it, starve it out. You know, when people want to do a detox, I always remind them on a detox, okay? If you really want to detox, lay off the sugars, because if you got yeast at all, you don't want to feed the bears. That's where that expression comes from. Don't feed the bears. Okay, guys, gotta run. I don't think we're going to do question and answer. I'll see, okay, about tomorrow, because I've got a short period of time before I need to speak here this morning at this conference, okay? We've had a great time here, a really good time. I got to meet some of our followers here and in person, which is like, what a blessing it is. Okay, guys, you have a great day, and more than you know, we love you dearly.